All right, so the IEC has accepted former Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke's recommendation. They will now file an urgent court application to postpone this year's local government elections. You'll remember that an inquiry by Moseneke found the elections in October could not be free and fair due to COVID-19 restrictions and the threat of super spreader events. Well, the IEC says it agrees with his report and will now attempt to convince the courts. eNCA reporter Govan Whittles has been following the story. He joins us now. Hello, Govan. So just explain briefly the reasoning of the IEC's decision and the next steps.
Well, the IEC has accepted the report from the former Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke, particularly agreeing with the parts that about the limitation of the ability to campaign by political parties and the impact that would have on the polls should they go ahead on October the 27th, but also very aware, it seems, of the potential for a spike in the number of infections of the coronavirus and ultimately a loss of life. And it's based on that they believe it's the right decision to go and approach the courts now to make this application for the postponement, and they should be doing that urgently, but as yet they're not sure which court to go to, Sally. They're still in consultations with their lawyers about whether to approach the electoral court first or to go to the High Court first and then to the Constitutional Court. What we understand is that there are some reservations about going straight to the Constitutional Court because there's a feeling that the application at the Electoral Court is likely to be opposed, and then this matter is likely to be finalized in the Constitutional Court. But let's listen now to the chairperson of the Independent Electoral Commission about their decision to adopt the report by Justice Moseneke.
The Commission, in response, unanimously accepts the findings of the Moseneke report. In particular, the Commission notes the rationale and central thesis of the report that community immunity through mass vaccination must be considered as a desirable step in the conduct of a safe, free and fair elections in the Republic. Insofar as the recommendation pertain, the Commission will adjust implementation to accord with current legal prescripts and financial means. Where there are substantial financial implications, National Treasury will be approached. For its part, the Commission has determined immediate causes of action given the agency of the matters canvassed in the report. And these include, but are not limited to, the deferral of the registration weekend scheduled for the 31st of July and 1st of August to enable the steps necessary for the preservation of lives of the members of the electoral staff, political party agents, observers, and voters who will ordinarily be in attendance at the 23,151 registration stations across the country.
Just explain to us, Govan, what this means for the October election until that court decision comes through.
Well, what it means is that the IEC now has to plan for the elections to happen in October. That's just in case their application is dismissed in court and they're told their reasons for wanting to postpone are not good enough. They would have to go ahead with the original date of October 27, regardless of the risks associated with it and the preliminary finding by the former Deputy Chief Justice that it wouldn't be free and fair. So the IEC is actively spending money preparing for those elections to go ahead on October the 27th, while at the same time it's spending money on lawyers preparing to lodge this application to have the elections officially postponed through a court order. And really the IEC says it's important for them to get this court matter out of the way as soon as possible, because then they would have certainty and they could either stop the spending on the one and continue with the other, or vice versa. So we'll get some clarity around that once those papers are filed, but as yet the IEC says they're still consulting the legal team.
Let's hope it's done on an urgent basis. As you say, no, don't want to spend money unnecessarily on a poll that is very likely now to be postponed. Talk to us about the opposition. We know that political parties were divided about this decision. It was interesting that even those who contributed to the report of Dikgang Moseneke were also somewhat divided. It wasn't an easy decision to make. Is there likely to be opposition? Can opposition parties put in opposition in the court process as well? How does that work, or is it not yet clear?
Well, they could certainly oppose the application, which will be brought by the IEC either to the High Court or the Electoral Court or maybe the Constitutional Court. That is within their rights. The IEC also making it clear that they're aware that some political parties don't agree with the decision to, or the recommendation to postpone the elections. And to be clear, these are the smaller parties which are hoping to gain a foothold in the country and the different wards through the October election. So Action SA is one of them, which is hoping to really cause an upset in the city of Johannesburg, in Tshwane and in Ekurhuleni. And then another party like the Patriotic Alliance has been doing a lot of campaigning, spending a lot of money on campaigning with the intention of contesting on the 27th of October. So the IEC says it's aware of those parties' preference for the polls to have gone ahead, and it knows that they are able to oppose any sort of application. And this is what makes them think that the matter will be decided at the Constitutional Court, because with any opposition, the loser is likely to go to the Con Court to have this matter decided. So it looks like the opposition will come from those parties who wanted the polls to go ahead.
Thank you so much, Govan Whittles.